What's going on, everybody? It's Derrick.
And Doug.
And Sam.
What's going on? It's the Gaming and Chill Podcast number 74.
Nice.
That seems a bit too high on occasion.
There are days where I say that number and I'm like, oh wow, that's really... Why does that seem really high?
Nice.
So, what have you gentlemen been up to this week?
Oh, just work for the most part.
Yeah, work, our main person who does chats at work is gone, so I'm kind of stepping into that.
Wow. That's rough.
Yeah.
It's, it is on occasion, but then other times it's like, I'm not doing a thing.
Right.
Nice.
There you go. I actually had an interesting week. Was called for a small sit-down interview for a job I had applied for. And first time I've ever actually turned down a job offer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The job that they offered me had no verticality to it. I'd basically be joining at the exact level I would be joining at, and that would be it. There would be no vertical. So it was like, alright. I was like, alright, how much would I be making? They're like, oh, like 50 cents more.
Nah.
I was like...
Yeah, see, verticality is important on occasion.
Not just so that I can, but it's that I have the option to.
Yeah.
That's, to me, is a big thing of, like, I want to be able to have the option to move ahead. And it's like, and 50 cents, that's not worth Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Because I play Mario Kart every Friday. And it's like, that's like, you know those moments, it's much more important than Christmas or Easter. It's like, it is Friday, we get to play Mario Kart. You know?
I mean, that's like Trivia Fridays for us.
Yeah. Even though I don't work Fridays.
Yeah, even though Sam's never there.
There you go. But yeah, it's one of those, no, that's not worth losing the group of friends that I play Mario Kart with. 50 cents, it's not worth my time, basically. So it's like, alright, and there's opportunities within my area. It's just I gotta do it, basically. So that was an interesting, sitting in the interview, basically, in the abject horrors, the lady describes that there's no verticality and how much it makes. And then at the same time, I'm sitting there going, oh no. At what point do I stop her and go, let me stop you right there. I just wanted to say that Beyonce had one of the best albums of all time.
How did I know? How did I know?
I saw that coming from a mile away, man.
But regardless, I was like, oh my god. When do I tell her, like, this isn't gonna work out? This is not what I know. This isn't gonna work. And I was like, and now I kind of jumped in. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to waste your time, but I think I'm gonna decline it. And the lady was like, oh no, that's cool, that's fine. That's fine. I'm like,
I mean,
okay.
I do think there is something to be said that is a big... Come on, cat, get off my desk, by the way. That is a big step of saying, I know what I'm worth, and it's not that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can think Sam can attest to this, like, and you can as well, because, you were around when I was working security. It was that daily, I know I'm worth more than this. Even if you take a pay cut, it's like my mental health, just my eternal well-being as a human being is worth more than X amount of dollars, if that makes sense.
No, it absolutely does.
Yeah.
I mean, even you, Sam, you didn't really get to see a lot pre me working there, but, like, there's a massive difference. Even just, like,
Oh, I could even tell a massive difference, even though I didn't get a chance to hang out with you prior to everything, man.
It's that just becoming a better person, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that absolutely does.
Like, I mean, most people, I mean, this is going to be shocking to most people who listen to the podcast. Normally, like, back when I worked in security, it wasn't, it was a struggle to keep, a family-friendly language in my, wheelhouse, so to speak. Now it's just, like, it's getting easier and easier to just, well, I mean, yeah, that I don't need to not have non-family friendly language, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's easier to keep it
Yeah,
PG.
exactly. And that just comes with being a better person who's not, constantly stressed out and at the very edge of, like, I could just quit and disappear.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, and also other news today. In other news, yes, just what we did today, I bought a car.
Nice.
I like how you buried the lead on that one. Oh, I didn't do anything this week. Oh yeah, I bought a car.
Well, I mean, it
Oh,
was one
you
of those, do I announce it, or is it just like, yeah? I mean, it opens up new opportunities and is a, it's a great car. It's a hatchback. I love hatchbacks. Dude, I love hatchbacks. I hate having to, like, open a trunk and feel like I'm pulling out a dead body. It's like, oh, let me just, pop the back open.
That's half the fun, though.
It is, but then it's that verticality that there's, like, 12 inches of space that thing can get buried, and your jumper cables are never at the front, at the top. It's like
It's true.
always back by the seat,
And then you like
underneath,
go to
like,
look for it,
30
and it's like
pounds.
it's not even in the trunk; it's in the back seat for some reason. You're like, what?
Yeah. Hey, which, by the way, when I clean out my car to get rid of the old one, I can return library books.
Just drop it off in a box and go, so sorry.
Free to a good home.
How long have they been out?
Let's not talk
now?
about this. This is a really sore subject because
I mean, it's not really a sore subject. It's like, well, let me tell you. It's, well, I got it before I started working at Securitas, and I worked for Securitas for 2 years. So they are easily, like, 3 years by this point.
When does amnesty days hit?
At this point, like, I looked at my fines, and I've talked to myself, okay, I can actually make payments and just take one item off a paycheck, and I'll be done in, like, 5 weeks, in 5 paychecks.
yeah.
And, I mean, I think I am going to do that. I just want to return them first and get that off my conscience. Because, I just stole library books, and I work for a library system.
See, so this is the funny part that most people don't know is we work for a system that works hand in hand with libraries. So every time overdue books are mentioned, or somebody's like, "Man, they have like a $500 fee," it's like, wonder if that was Doug calling in.
Well, I mean, it also does help when patrons are like, "Oh man, I have a $30 fine." Well, that's not the highest I've ever seen. I've seen it like at 300. And they're like, "Oh wow, that is really high. That took some work to get it that high." You betcha.
You bet it did.
It was a lot of work not remembering those books for 3 years.
Wow. That's just wow. All right, let's move on to our topic.
Sweet.
Let's.
Okay, it is. If you could reboot any movie franchise, what movie would it be, and who would be the main character?
Ooh.
There's some good. We've talked about it a little bit.
Yes.
There's some good
Some good answers
titles in there.
Yeah.
Good answers. But before we do that, let's hear from our sponsors.
Thanks, guys. Our partner for this week's podcast is Humble Bundle. Humble Bundle is an online digital store that sells some of the most popular games from the most popular game developers. But that's not all. They also offer bundle deals that change weekly and monthly that allow you to pay a designated amount for a collection of games or ebooks that can often save you hundreds of dollars. Humble Bundle then donates portions of its proceeds to a featured charity. In addition to this awesome business model, they have also partnered with us so we get a small portion of any purchase or donation through their website. All you need to do is go to our website, scroll to the bottom of the page, and click the Humble Bundle partner logo and shop for any games of your heart's desire. Thanks, Humble Bundle. Back to you guys.
All right, let's go to the YouTube roundup.
Yes, let's.
First video is Homeopathy Explained.
Homeopathy.
Gentle... Homeopathy. Homeopathy. What'd I call it?
Homeopathy?
Homeopathy.
Close
Explained.
enough.
Gentle healing or reckless fraud.
Alright, so both of you watch this video,
I
correct?
will say yes, I did, but I feel like I almost retained nothing of it.
See, so this is why this one is really, really interesting to me. I have family members that do kind of lean more towards this way in view of health. So being able to see like some of the things that they take, it's a little kind of eye-opening, but at the same time, everybody that says, oh, hey, a homeopathic treatment I have here is this, doesn't always describe what was like advertised in this video per se. However, when you realize like 90% of what is out there is what's covered on in the video, it's like, yeah, you have to be really careful when you talk about that kind of medical treatment.
Yeah. I mean, especially because it's not... I don't want to say it's not an exact science, because the way that they described it, that's a lot of science.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the biggest one that they kind of lost me was talking about the different, like, distillations of the art of the compounds. It's like, I don't understand. But it was really interesting because, you know, it's one of those, working in a hospital for 2 years, it was seeing people go, oh, I normally don't go to hospitals. I'm, a homeopathic practitioner. It's like, well, what is that? It's kind of like hearing about that one thing, and then you find out what it is.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like I retained next to nothing of this, because I think I got lost at the distillation as well. And I was like, okay. I mean, I know some people who do, like, they, like, make essential oils.
Yeah.
And they're like, it takes care of my pains and aches and helps me sleep better. And I'm like...
The last half of the video was really interesting because I like how they didn't say, homeopathy is stupid, no one ever should do it. It's like, it's the placebo effect. It literally works.
Yeah.
It's not technically what's in the solution that works. It's the, oh, this has worked XYZ, so it's going to work for me.
I would like to say I also appreciate where it talks about like the human body like heals over time, and the like animation of the clock punching the dude in the face being like, no, it wasn't homeopathy, it was time. And I was like, wow, that's kind of aggressive, but that's one thing.
It's true.
Yeah. The other thing that kind of blew my mind was when they were talking about the distillation, like, it got to the point where they said not a single atom remains of the original ingredient in some of these treatments. And that kind of, like, blew my mind because their argument is, oh, the water remembers. And I'm like, what?
I mean, it's kind of like that old logic puzzle, the ship of Theseus, I believe. That
yes,
you have a model ship, and let's say the mast one day breaks. So you replace it. And then, one of the bow breaks, a railing breaks. Over time, you replace all these parts. In 20 years, is it still the same ship you started with? Well, yes, it is, but no, it's not.
Yeah. That was actually a big thing in my metaphysics class I took. Yes, I too took metaphysics at a Bible college.
We all did.
No,
didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
It was... you know what? That class was actually really engaging. Like, talking about metaphysical properties, and we talked about the ship of Theseus, we talked about transhumanism. It was in exogenesis, which was great. It was a really interesting class, but yeah, it's one of those, if you replace part by part something, is it the same thing? And if you then take those parts and build the new... They used a full boat. So if you replace the planks, but use those planks to build another boat, did you duplicate the boat? And it was like, that's really interesting.
Or if you take parts from the original ship that you replaced and build an entirely new ship, and they're both identical. Which one's the original ship?
Yeah.
It's
Basically.
like, what?
So it's interesting. Like I said, I know some people who do that, and they're like, I do this, and then I do this, and I add these oils, and I'm like, all right, calm down, Edward. We're not doing alchemy here. We're talking about you put some spices in oil. I don't...
Or alcohol.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sure it helps, but...
Well, I would like to say that essential oils are different than, like, homeopathy cures.
Yeah, it seems like they're more concentrated, right?
Yeah, especially because, like, peppermint. Your body does react in a way to peppermint.
True.
It's almost an allergic reaction, but not kind of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just one of those interesting, like... I feel like anything that's outside of the realm of traditionally accepted medical science... people kind of lump in together. Except the crystal people. Crystal people are weird.
Crystal people just gotta go jump off a cliff.
That's
how Sam feels about that.
I believe in the power of the crystal. Hold the crystal. Meditate on the thoughts.
Praise the sun.
I'm holding a rock. Yeah, it's like, I'm holding... It's like, what am I doing here? I would actually like to see them... Since you guys showed me these, I love this channel. And this kind of informational sharing. Because I think a couple other channels do, like, the infographic style video, kind of
I like videos like this because they break it down like, okay, stupid, here's how we're gonna work this. But they don't talk down to you. Like, I do feel like on occasion, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, when he speaks, he does that thing where it's just like,
I'm smarter than you.
I didn't get into debt going into physics like you did. Take it easy on me. I enjoy a hot dog with relish, ketchup, and mustard. I am Joe Average in comparison to you. You do not have to speak to me like an idiot. Whereas, like, this Kyrgyzstan or something like that, I forget how you pronounce it. It's like, here's what it is. Here's what that means. Here's what that means for you. And it's like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, I get that. You don't take 20 minutes using, $20 words to tell me a concept. It's like, here's the thing. Here's how it impacts you. Problem solved.
Yeah. I think you guys introduced it to me with the UBI, Universal Basic Income.
Yep.
You mean communism?
Yeah.
Ah, yes. Yes, comrade.
I've had this conversation with coworkers at work.
We had this conversation for what was it, a good hour or so?
Oh, yeah.
I like, at work, I love to take the argument, and even at home, I like taking the argument of UBI is a good idea. Because in theory, it is.
So is communism.
Oh, yeah.
But people are like, all of a sudden they have to argue against communism, and it gets really difficult not to, because they're like, well, it's communism, it doesn't work. But tell me why it doesn't work. And then they're like,
So basically you pull a Doug and shut somebody up before they can even talk to you about it.
No, it's like, no, I'm very like, hey, here's my idea, and here's what I think it is. And they're like, that's communism. Yeah. Well, that doesn't work. But tell me why it doesn't work. Because we're, in a weird way, it's like taking the devil's advocate and saying, you say communism doesn't work, but do you know why it doesn't work? Do you know the way? Outdated memes. It's just almost like it's ingrained of communism equals Russia equals bad, but it's like, but why? There have been experiments in America, early colony days too, of communism basically, and it didn't work. But can you tell me why it didn't work? And actually, my wife was the first one that actually argued well against it. Because it was like, $1,000 a month for everyone. She calculated out the population and goes, yeah, that would be, the U.S. government would be able to fund that. And nothing else. No infrastructure, no schools, No nothing. Because it came out to being like $3.45 trillion. The American budget is like 3.5 trillion.
Well, the argument that they have is that there would be increased taxes, so everybody would have that. But the problem is that you also have increased inflation when you have increased amount of money that's put into the economy. So
Right.
everything that's like all of a sudden ironically went up $1,000 cost-wise every month. And it's like, why isn't this working? Well, it's because, sadly, with human depravity, the rich guy who lives in an apartment complex that pays $1,000 a month for his apartment looks over and sees a whole bunch of people are now able to go through and go to another apartment, so he decides that he's going to go to an apartment that's a little bit more expensive. So, in theory, technically, all you did was raise the rent prices.
Yeah.
What if instead of a rent across the board, like payment across the board, you get 1,000, you get 1,000, you get 1,000, it's, okay, what's your basic income? What's your income before spending anything?
Yeah, that's a nightmare.
You make $20,000 a year. Okay, it's not much, but we're going to make sure you get $25,000 a year. Everyone reaches $25,000 a year. So Johnny, who makes $24,000, you only get an extra $1,000 a year. Sorry, buddy. Make it then just so that way it's if you make over $25,000, great, you get nothing.
You get nothing. You lose.
And so you are going to lose out when, like, let's say, right now, Sam, your wife isn't working right now because she just had the baby.
Yeah.
So let's say that continues permanently. Okay, the American tax system would have to pay her out $25,000 a year, which in the long run isn't that terrible compared to paying everyone $1,000.
It's the problem becomes though is why would I, in that case, really want to work?
Yeah.
Because you would have to have so many like safeguards in place, and we have so many people now that are like outraged with these checks that are going through. Like you actually have to do work apparently in the state of Indiana now in order to get welfare or do volunteer work, and there's like public outrage.
But here's the thing, and we're straying way off the topic.
Yeah, I was about to say we're going down the political rabbit hole here.
Thing, if you were able to say, okay, no matter what. My household will bring in $50,000. We can pay all of our student loans. We can make sure everything's paid. Everything will be okay. I can quit and do what I want in life. So if you want to go be an underwater basket weaver, you can go quit your job and become an underwater basket weaver. You're not going to sit there and take more sick days, because you're at a job you love. You're going to do things that you want to do, and you're going to become a more enriched person as a result, which generally, more enriched people will not take advantage of the system.
The only problem is that you have the people who are of lower morals, which...
Yeah, and they will sort themselves out faster than anything, because they're going to say, oh, I get $25,000, and I don't have to do anything. Well, what are they going to do all day? They're going to, sit around the house. They're going to die faster. They're going to go do stupid things. They're going to go buy a sports car that they can't afford, get into a crash, and not be a burden on the system anymore, actually.
That was a little nihilistic.
Well, time to change the subject.
Time to take the blue pill and reset everything that we just talked about. So,
but actually, this does lead up into Lost in Space for our next video. Can I introduce that real fast?
Go for it.
The next video is the Lost in Space date announcement for Netflix. Here's a fun fact: in the Lost in Space reboot with Gary Oldman and Matt LeBlanc, the world was being destroyed because, the world was just being deprived of its resources because of a population boom and because of late-stage communism.
Whoa! How did we segue so well? I'm, kind of a little concerned.
I really thought that this is exciting because it's kind of the idea of like the Swiss Family Robinson, and that was like one of my favorite movies growing up. So
Wait, have you never not watched Lost in Space, the TV show, or the movie that came out in like
I did.
97?
I
98.
You know, you say it's kind of like the Swiss Family Robinson, but ironically, and this is probably entirely why it is, they are the Robinsons.
yeah, I know, which is why I thought it was funny. But it's like, oh hey,
People
But
are like,
it's-
oh, the Matt LeBlanc one is terrible. I'm like, I liked it. What are you saying? I liked it.
Gary Oldman is a national treasure.
Gary Oldman.
He was Dr. Smith.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm excited for this because I wanted to see, maybe this is just me being me, I am super excited to see who they get to play Robbie the Robot.
It is the original voice actor with a voice synthesizer.
But I want to see what their design is. My bad. That would be a better question.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause
I want to see more of a Cylon from like the reboot of Battlestar.
Nice.
that would be neat. But otherwise, like, I want to see who they cast better. Like, I want to see like Judy and Penny. I want to see who they've got playing these characters because
This is going to sound crazy and a little bit heretical. I am excited that it is on Netflix because Netflix is able to take a few more risks and kind of bridge the gap between content like cable TV and like HBO. So they're able to fill that more mature, like where Breaking Bad and Mad Men were, but a little bit more, if that makes sense.
No, it absolutely does.
Because like as horrible as Game of Thrones is, I do enjoy it because it's able to tell a
dark
grittier-
story.
A dark story, yeah, without being like, and everyone is gonna survive because it's
Because-
cable TV.
Clearly, you've never watched The Magicians.
That's a Netflix show.
No, it's not.
It's not.
No, it's not. It's a sci-fi show.
That also explains because I don't care to watch sci-fi channels anymore.
It's on
I don't have
Netflix.
cable.
It's
I
on
don't have cable.
Netflix. It is the first 2 seasons are on Netflix.
I tried watching it. I don't care about the people.
It's a shame. It's one of those shows I didn't expect to like. But I expect to like this Lost in Space. I seen this trailer and I was like, oh my gosh, it looks good.
Oh yeah, it looks
It
kind of
almost-
like The Martian, but like with more people than just what's his
Man,
name
I
stuck
want to
on
see
Mars.
Mass Effect meets. I want to see Mass Effect Andromeda meets Lost in Space.
Yeah,
Except without the monster people. The unblinking eyes.
without
here's
the
the thing.
intelligent robots.
They could easily. Oh, they could even include intelligent robots. That way, the robot Robbie can actually gain a bit of sentience.
It would be interesting because like there is so much. It could be a better, well done Star Trek Discovery because they're lost in space. They're not held by Earth. So like
Yeah.
they could go to a planet maybe where there is sentient robots, maybe where there is ooze people. It could be a family. The family adventures of Robinsons on the planets.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting that it's not just going to be like... Because if you think about it, Lost in Space and Star Trek have a lot in common. They're
Oh, yeah.
both about family, but one is actual family, one is a family that you as a viewer grew to see as a family, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I'm interested to see this and how the family dynamic, because that is what is going to make or break this series. If the family does not feel like they can tolerate each other, we're going to have a problem.
And I think that's where a lot of TV shows do come off the off the tracks when they have family that doesn't look like they actually care for each other yet have conflict. Like, if you watch later seasons of like Family Guy, it's like they don't even sound like they tolerate being in the same room. Whereas,
Yeah.
go back and watch King of the Hill or even still Bob's Burgers. Absolutely love Bob's Burgers because the kids have conflict with each other, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, but we're family. That is literally how family is.
Or Malcolm in the Middle.
That's
Yeah.
another good one.
Malcolm in the Middle was one of those. I wish I'd watched more of it, but it was on Netflix. Anything else about Lost in Space?
No, looking forward to it. When is the date announcement again?
Look, we're talking about the video, not the date.
Well,
Let me look
I
it
mean,
up.
yeah. I mean, what was it? I'm saying.
I have no earthly clue.
Let's see. April 13th.
That's
Sweet.
not bad.
Not
That's
bad.
Like
really
next month.
that's
Not next month.
it's like-
Okay, and I do have some names of the characters.
okay.
Toby Stevens is whatchamacall the
Kid?
John Robinson. No, John Robinson. He played in 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi, and he played in Black Sails.
Oh,
If anybody watched that.
Nope.
Molly Parker is Maureen Robinson, and she was in Deadwood and House of Cards.
I'm looking at it. There's not a whole lot of names that I actually recognize.
I really get excited when that happens, though, because it's kind of like the Hollywood effect. Once somebody does something really famous, like, they can't not be a character in your mind.
Daisy Ridley.
Or, like, when I went to watch Les Miserables, and I'm sitting here, it's like, oh, look, I'm watching the guy from Taken run away from Wolverine.
Yeah. That
Or when
does
you
happen.
or when you watch anything with Amelia Clark and you're like, now what would the scene look like if she were blonde and
riding a
had
dragon.
dragons?
Yeah.
I was like, we lost Sam.
Yeah. No.
Anything else otherwise?
Nope.
No, I can't think of anything.
Okay, let's go to
And
our...
speaking of things that are being rebooted,
Hey,
Oh, my...
good
how are we
transition.
doing this today?
okay. Well,
Hey.
here's the thing. Last night when I built the podcast notes, I did have this one in mind because we would leave Lost in Space and go to another reboot.
Oh my gosh, Doug is thinking ahead.
I only do it once in a while.
Okay, then do you want to introduce it?
Absolutely. Well, we already talked about it. If you could reboot any movie franchise, what movie would it be, and who would be the main character?
Do you want to go around just saying the movie and then we can go back around and do the actors?
Sure.
Okay, why don't you start then?
I would remake Waterworld.
Ooh.
Ooh, I
Really
like
good
it.
one.
I like it. Sam?
I would actually redo Sky Captain World of Tomorrow.
Not a bad choice. Black and white?
Okay.
I like it.
Yep.
I would
Nice.
actually go Resident Evil
Hmm.
and align
I
it
like-
more with the games.
Okay.
Let me add that caveat. Align it with more of the games.
I do like that we do have a broad spectrum of, like, genres.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, like, mine is, like, an action storytelling film.
Well,
drama.
it's action apocalypse. If you think about it, like it was
Yeah.
one of the earlier apocalypse films where it's like, we don't have any
Well, for
drinkable
a while
water.
There, Kevin Costner did that. Then 2 years later was The Postman.
Huh. I don't really remember a lot about the Postman.
It's actually really funny because when you think about it, it's almost like Waterworld is Mad Max just on the ocean.
It actually is.
Yeah.
Can I choose to believe that they're in the same universe?
Yes, you can.
You certainly can. Like thousands of years in the future.
No. Same time. On the land that they don't know where it's at. Because let me drop some knowledge on you. In the current world, there are boats that are just missing. They don't know where they went because the ocean is that vast. There's one spot in the world that the closest humans to it would actually be the International Space Station.
Huh.
So it
Huh.
is theoretically possible for someone who lives on a giant barge who is relying upon winds to basically live and die without ever seeing land.
See, the only problem with that comes into the part where in Waterworld, the water levels have risen and have basically destroyed like New York, because there's one scene where I think he's diving and he like sees the Statue of Liberty or something.
Right.
I can't remember what it was. And then with Mad Max, you have like in the second movie, and if I'm not mistaken, the third and fourth movies, like dried up like freighters or like shipping freighters that are there. Now, there is a theoretical and scientific explanation, is that if for some reason the Earth ceased to turn,
Could work.
it could possibly work, because it would basically jack up all sorts of tides and cause everything to rearrange itself, but it would bring another series of issues. But hey, maybe we'll do a YouTube video on that one day.
I was doing some thinking about this in my reboot, how I would bring in the Mad Max world, because we're going to time together. Why not?
Why not?
The world is indeed flooded. However, the Earth, why it flooded so rapidly, was in fact a meteor hit the Earth, threw it off its axis, pushed out Australia closer towards the sun, and really put Australia up on a plateau, because of how the tectonic plates just like crushed and just like it pushed it up as well, so that way it is always hot there, and it did flash like unfreeze all the polar ice caps.
You might be getting a phone call from WB in order to.
I was like,
That's theoretical.
So it explains why it would throw off the atmosphere in Mad Max, and why you have those big dust storms filled with lightning. It would explain why you have an ocean that just goes endlessly, because it does. Because Australia is in its own sub-climate, because of how the winds are, it basically keeps everything there, and nothing will ever exit it, because it's in its own bubble, pretty much.
I like it.
I like it a lot.
And then you could have, like, your low-lying places that are filled with water. Or, alternatively, it's not Australia, it's Antarctica that melted, and there's a landmass underneath there.
There is.
I like that better.
Antarctica.
I like
there is
that.
land under Antarctica.
Well,
And when it thawed, we're just gonna go with geothermal power, and it just kind of ruined everything.
could work.
It could work.
Because we're gonna still say with meteor, it just like pretty much hit one of the ice caps and just it spiraled everything out of control.
I like it. Who would you have in it? Well, so we can
All
go
right.
ahead and do characters.
For the little girl,
Yeah.
I would want Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things. Which, Sam, have you watched Stranger Things yet?
Let's not talk about that.
We'll talk about that and my library finds on next show. But yeah, I would have Millie Bobby Brown because she can play.
Is she getting too old though at this point?
No, I would age up. I would age up her character just a little bit. Being as, she's not a young kid, but we're just going to say she's still young.
Okay, fair.
Because we're going to cut out the older sister, so our main character, who I'm going to have being played by David Harbour, just because I love David Harbour, because it is in fact a tie dad. But I would have him be filling the role of Kevin Costner, and we don't need a creepy, like, weird love story. It's not going to be a love story. It's going to be, he literally, at the beginning of it, is going to keep her for the information. He doesn't care for her. If she were to die, as long as he still had the information, he'd be cool.
So it's Mad Max on water.
Yes. And then the main character, Deacon, I believe, was the original character's name. Woody Harrelson.
As Kevin Costner?
No. As the bald guy who was the bad guy in Waterworld.
That's right. That guy.
I can see Woody Harrelson with an shaved head, eye patch, being a mixture of Tallahassee from Zombieland
Ooh.
and his character in The Hunger Games.
Both of those characters are just Woody Harrelson.
It's true.
So,
exactly.
Woody Harrelson in an eye patch.
I like it. I think that could work.
I think this, of the ones that we discussed, I think this seems like it'd be made the soonest.
Yeah, I could see it. But
Because Waterworld's already kind of there, and everybody's thinking of, hey, name an awful movie. Battlefield Earth and Waterworld.
and it's very topical of like climate change.
Yeah.
Yep.
I could see people like really getting on board for it.
Oh, yeah.
Who would you have in your Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow?
This one should be really obvious. I would actually have Nathan Fillion be Sky Captain, but I would pretty much leave everybody else the same.
So you want Nathan Fillion, not playing any character, you just want Nathan Fillion.
Well, no, like, he would replace Jude Law as Sky Captain. The reason being is that
Go ahead.
Yeah, the reason being is that I just didn't like Jude Law in the position of the Sky Captain, because from everything that I've read about that character, he was great in Enemy at the Gates, but Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow was not his best performance.
Would you age up the actors and say it's a sequel reboot? Because Jude Law was pretty young when that came out.
I would say that you could do a reboot. The only thing that really disappoints me is that I was really, really a big fan of what's his name?
David Bowie?
The guy that was his mechanic friend who gets like off to the beginning of the movie.
Oh, you mean Dex?
Yeah, Dex. I was a big fan of the casting of him, but it's like I was really bummed that they killed him off in the first couple of minutes.
Who was that cast?
I am drawing a blank.
As we go to the Google Mobile.
We go to IMDb.
To IMDb away.
I think, while you're looking that up, I think there should be a GMDB, like games database. The IGDB. Because, like, there are so many times I'm like, who's this voice actor in this game? Well, I guess I'll never know unless I go to the end credits.
Oh, it was Giovanni Ribisi.
Ribisi.
Yep. Ribisi. Is that how you pronounce his name? But he was in Avatar, Saving Private Ryan, a couple other pretty good. What in the world? They're planning on releasing like 4 new Avatar movies? Anyway,
Yes.
that's a different topic.
Oh, yeah.
Let's keep going.
Would you still have Gwyneth Paltrow and Angelina Jolie?
Yes.
Nice.
I dig it. You should also put Julianne Moore in there somewhere. Alright, finish the story. Okay. You hit that... we're all hitting our 30s.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There is a weird point in your life where you're watching a movie that was like 20 years ago, and you realize, wow, like I was watching Evolution. I'm like, wow, Julianne Moore is like really pretty. Like, wow, she is gorgeous. And then you like look up when she was in like Kingsman last year. I'm like, wow, she is still gorgeous. Like, she is aging really well. So you look at Google and you're like, wow, she is like at the end of her 50s. And like this kind of like, wow, she's gorgeous is usually reserved for like, it felt like up until this point, like the actors who are like 20 to 25. And that's weird. Does that make sense?
A little bit. Where you start to go, It's one of those like,
wow.
where it's the same thing, same way with music on a level where it's like I used to listen to things like, I don't know, Taylor Swift, the Chainsmokers.
Yeah.
And now I listen to it and I'm like, I'm gonna go listen to like Chicago. All of a sudden you're like, I don't care about this music anymore. I totally get that though.
Does that make sense to you, Sam? That moment when you're just like, that there was definitely a change in life.
There was that change where you woke up and it's like, for some reason I'm like my parents now.
Pretty much. And
you're like, man, this is it. This is where it ends.
or when you realize, you have that moment where you're just like, wow, she's like gorgeous for like an older lady. You look up on Wikipedia and she's like 10 years older than you, and you're just like, oh crap.
Yep.
She's not an older lady. I'm an older dude. I'm this close to a midlife crisis.
It's that day that Doug took up drinking. Joke's on you. I drank ever since.
But yeah, no. So that side story aside, I mean, that was just one of those like moments of like, I do not think my life will ever be the same after that moment of realization.
Yeah. Getting back on topic. For the Resident Evil movie, I actually picked some actors that you guys hadn't heard of.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No.
Well, one of them you had. The other couple, I don't think you will. For the Resident Evil movie, which is more closer to the games, start off with Resident Evil 1. Good old-fashioned Resident Evil. Arklay Mountain Mansion. It's where every kid played and learned to avoid glass windows.
Yeah, like literally every glass window in a hallway now like is a just
Just a no.
it's just the yeah, that tinted glass over there, I don't trust it at all.
Why is Grandpa kneeling over by the fireplace? I guess I'll never find out. Anyway, so for the main character, or you could say arguably, it's Chris Redfield. I would actually choose Jensen Ackles of Supernatural pedigree. I think they could do a really good action, like, I've seen some stuff, I know how to lead. He's got that jawline that just says, I am a take charge, person.
But why not Casper Van Dien if you're talking about jawline?
Because he's too busy doing the Starship Troopers reboot that we weren't going to talk about.
That we all secretly wish was going to happen. But...
Right.
Hey, did you read my fanfic then?
You read my fanfiction.
I think...
Hey, Doug's got Casper Van Dien to retweet him, so...
I think at this point, we all were like, I would put Starship Troopers, but I'm pretty sure Doug is going to put Starship Troopers.
We came to agreement that we weren't going to go after low-hanging fruit in this podcast, right?
Yeah. Right, so we're going to talk...
That's why none of us picked Firefly.
Yeah. That's a good
Rest
point.
in peace.
Too soon.
I think for the other characters, so you've got Wesker, Albert Wesker, and then you've got Claire Redfield.
Yep.
I'm sorry, that is wrong. It's Jill Valentine. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
That's right.
For Wesker, I actually said Mackenzie Aston. Have you guys heard of him?
Is that
I cannot say
Sean
I have.
Astin's brother?
No, it's not. That would be a good guess, though. He is actually from The Magicians. He actually plays Reynard the Fox. Which, I was watching that and I was like, he'd be a good Wesker. And then I looked it up and I was like, he has the look of, I am a businessman, a professional. He could carry it forward through into the other shows where it's like, or into the other movies and games, where he starts to become more and more devious. I think that would be a really, really good choice. As far as Jill Valentine, yeah. All of a sudden I'm getting it mixed up. I actually said Brittany Curran, which you also don't know who it is, do you?
No clue, man.
It's actually another person from The Magicians.
Oh, that explains it.
I've not watched The Magician.
Well, I've heard as much.
I just don't know. I haven't watched it, and I'm kind of with Doug. It's not something that sparks my interest.
I can totally understand that. I wholeheartely support that decision. But did things like Chicago Fire, if you've ever watched that, or Criminal Minds, and a couple other things like The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Oh, heck yeah.
Thanks, Doug. But is another good actor that she looks like she could carry forward. A lot of, with Resident Evil, it's the ability to carry forward, because if it succeeds, there's like 7 more games that it could be. And they have the ability to carry that power and that I'm a take charge person. Because there are only 2 characters in the series that are just characters that tag along. You've got Ashley Graham from Resident Evil 4, and you've got, I believe it's Alyssa from Resident Evil 0, where you have to escort her.
Yeah.
And it's sad that I knew that off the top of my head. But I am actually a huge Resident Evil lore fan. Like, I'll read all the lore, even though I've played almost none of the games. But I think that those characters had the ability, those actors had the ability to carry a presence. Because all of the characters have a military background, have the ability to command a room, if that makes sense. So they can't have a weak personality, and everything that I've seen them in, and 2 of them were from the Magicians, have the ability to have a presence.
I dig it.
So, that's what was my thought. Because you wouldn't pick, like, who's a good point? Natalie Portman for, I don't know, you wouldn't pick her as Diz in Starship Troopers example. Although it would be interesting, but I don't think you would.
No.
So, it's interesting.
But I did briefly think about it.
On page 4 of my fanfic, you will find.
Doug has already written out the entire script for his trilogy remake of Starship Troopers. He's just waiting for the owners of, is it Fox, to get back to him?
Yeah, I'm waiting for those.
Why does I know you're joking, but at the same time I'm also like, you could easily not be joking.
I mean,
Yeah,
Doug and I have a whole bunch of like ideas we have, man.
Well, I mean, plus you got to remember, like, I have been submitting a lot more stuff for publishing.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, let's move forward to our weekly challenge. Unless you've got more to talk about for your main topic.
I'm good.
Okay. Weekly challenge, real fast. What game is so bad it's good? Doug? Doug?
Well, I'm not going to say Mass Effect Andromeda, because that is a bad game. An especially glitchy one, and this is controversial.
Just the title.
But-
Just the title.
Not Mass Effect. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
Okay. We could argue this all day, but all right.
I'm just saying, by the glitch basis, there's a lot of glitches.
It's a Bethesda game.
Yeah. It's not super polished, and there's just a lot of things I would have done
Okay,
different.
fair game. Sam?
You guys probably haven't even heard of this one.
Test.
Arkanoid.
Shaq Fu.
I've heard of it.
Oh my god.
I've heard of it.
Can I change my answer to
change
also
my
be
answer?
Shaq Fu?
Weirdly enough, my answer was Shaq Fu.
Shaq Fu.
No, actually,
Really?
I like that. I like that idea. Didn't they remake that recently?
Yes,
Okay.
which is what makes it even better. Like, it's called Shaq Fu: A Legend Reborn. It's on Indiegogo,
Nice.
and apparently it's coming to Nintendo Switch officially.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I just want NBA Jam.
My game
On fire.
was Star Tropics.
Ooh.
I have never heard of that one.
It's bad, but it's good. Okay.
Yeah, the storytelling wasn't the greatest.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to gaming news. Detective Pikachu is on the case in a new trailer, so go check that out. I still don't know how I feel about this.
That's adorable.
Is it sad that I weirdly wish Pikachu's still gonna be voiced by Danny DeVito?
Hey, Pika! I want every Pokemon to be voiced by Patrick Warburton. Pika. Anyway, moving forward, movie news. Flamin' Hot Cheetos movie in the works.
I don't know how I feel about this at all.
I read the title and I was like, I almost don't want to read the article, so that doesn't ruin the
But you
match.
have to.
But it's not what you think it
Exactly.
Is it-
It's not like the Emoji Movie.
Oh God, no. It's
I literally, when I found out that it was on, the Emoji Movie is on Netflix, I came home, told my fiance, I swear to everything that if I see the Emoji Movie has been watched on this next Netflix account, because I would not watch it. I will straight up leave you.
I will cancel Netflix subscription right now.
No, I just straight up leave, because that is some hot garbage.
Nice. I
It's like,
don't know how I feel about this movie.
It's about the maker of the Flamin' Hot Cheetos, which, if you know the story, is actually a really interesting story.
I don't think anybody ever wondered. I wonder how we got Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
No, it's a great...
I don't-
Because basically...
I don't want to know.
yeah, I'll tell you what, I will save it for the movie.
Okay. Releasing this week is the Portal Bridge Constructor for Xbox One and Switch on February 28th.
Hey,
I believe it's already
It
out on
is.
PC.
and the Sword Art Online game came out.
Yes, it did. And actually, that is what is going to be playing right now over our podcast, because I've already recorded an hour worth of footage.
Nice.
I thought ahead while I was streaming last night.
Sweet segue, bruh.
It's kind of disappointing, but at the same time, it's decent.
The more I play it, the more I'm like, it's not the greatest game.
That's kind of what I felt about the first one too, but
It's very grindy.
Hey, remember, it's version 1.1.1. Everybody knows that in all the Sword Art Online animes, that every time an update came out, it was a more epic thing. Don't have a feeling that that's what's going on here.
Maybe.
Yeah.
As we all just kind of murmur.
Well, I mean, I watched it and it was like, at first it was like, wow, this could, I would really like to play this on my PlayStation. Then, like, watched it, and I'm like, wow, I could save my time and not play this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anything else before we wrap up?
That should be it.
I'm good as well. So until next week, have a good one.
Alright, see you guys later.
See you.
Thanks, guys. And thank you to all of our listeners out there, because we really couldn't do it without you. We hope you enjoyed this week's Gaming and Chill podcast. If you'd like to know more about the podcast, follow us on social media, or learn how to support the podcast directly, check us out at www.gamingandchillpodcast.com. Also, be sure to stay up to date with Gaming and Chill by following us on Twitter at gaming_in_chill. Yes, that is gaming_in as in Nancy _chill. You can also find links to the articles, games, and videos mentioned in this podcast in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and until next time.